Welcome to Senior Day coverage, folks. Here is our ceremony.
I'm here with the Broadcasting Club. This is Gutierrez, and this is
Logan Van Pelt.
And we're here to help you with the Senior Day coverage right before the Senior Day football game.
Of course, our beautiful ceremony here before the game starts.
Yeah, and it's great to see the amount of love and respect that the school has for their seniors. We have a lot of seniors on this football team. We have 14 seniors in total on the varsity football team.
Matthew wants to thank God, his parents, his brothers, and his sister, as well as
Starting off with the quarterback, of course.
Yeah, Matthew Conklin, what we've seen through these games has been very great for Santa Clara. And although he's had some dark and bright spots, it's good to hear the respect that that the fans have for him.
Of course, over 1,000 yards on the season.
The next person that we're honoring is Ford.
And the next player we're going to recognize is Demony Ford, number 5.
Next in our grade of champions, we'd like to celebrate Nguyen.
Next to Alize Herrera.
Yeah, and Alize has been injured throughout the season, but it's really great to see that the respect and they're showing the love out here today.
Of course, we're all seniors. They're all seniors here. They got to all give their respect, no matter how long they're on the field or not. Oliver, make sure to let us know if you can hear us well and everything.
Next, we'd like to celebrate Jacob Jensen and Alexander Lopez.
Jacob Jensen, Alexander Lopez, both players that done pretty decent this season. Jacob Jensen only starting 2 games, but already with 12 tackles.
Yeah, and that level of defensive pressure applying on other teams that quickly and in that large of a volume with only 2 games in the season, that's some special stuff, man.
Both Jacob and Alex with a sack on the season, too. Like to add that, of course.
Just to remind you, these players are walking with their family and friends. And next we celebrate Jeremiah Carango.
And Jeremiah Carango, of course, being shown next, is kind of a favorite up here in broadcasting, and he has a total of 7 touchdowns in the season.
Got to give a lot of love to wide receiver number 1.
Jeremiah Carango.
I'm laughing because I can see my friends and my parents from here. I can see the back of my mouth from here.
Let's celebrate now Albert Melchor. Albert wants to give a huge shout out to his
Of course, haven't heard much of Albert. His number hasn't been called much as some other players on this field, of course.
Yeah, but even though his individual performance hasn't shined through as much, the team effort that he plays into this team is extremely important, and we can't forget that.
He's a phenomenal player here. All phenomenal players here.
This afternoon we also salute Abshir Muhammad.
Abshir Muhammad, of course. Great player here. He's gotten some pretty good highlights this year.
very solid player, and we're great to have him on this team. And it is very sad that this is going to be his last season with us here, but we're glad to have had him.
Of course, glad to have him. And he's still got 2 more games. This one and the Wilcox game, of course.
And Wilcox, man, Santa Clara and Wilcox have had a very, I wouldn't even call it a rivalry, but
It's always competition between those 2 schools, even if it's not a rivalry. It's always competition between those schools out of all of them.
going back to the senior day, we have, was it Matthew Nguyen, who has also been phenomenal for Santa Clara.
Leading rusher, of course, 111.7 yards per game.
Which is quite incredible if you ask me, Logan.
Of course, over
Do you think
over 100 rushing yards per game is always phenomenal.
Do you think we're going to see a lot of him today?
I hope so.
Do you think they're going to need to see him today?
Depends on that running defense from that Colts team.
And going back to the
Ota with a lot of family here tonight.
Ina Ota is a very large player, coming in at around, I'd say, 6'3", 6'4".
He's a big boy for sure. Been a great player for our team.
You do not want to run into him when you're playing on the offense, I'll tell you that.
Like run into a brick wall.
Next, let's celebrate and recognize Mitchell Pacheco.
Mitchell Pacheco, of course, second best with the yards, wide receiver wise.
And Pacheco has been a very well-rounded player, showing up in both receiving touchdowns and he's also had quite a few sacks, and he's also had quite a few tackles per game.
Of course, the most tackles per game with 9, right on the dot.
Next, let's recognize and celebrate Santiago Vallejo.
Santiago, of course, another very beneficial player to the offensive line, I believe.
The defensive line for Santa Clara has been inconsistent at best, but albeit still a very great line.
Of course. Always got to give credit to our offensive linemen. Big boys in the front, holding the trenches together.
Next, let's celebrate Kyron Warren.
And the next player being Kyron Warren.
Especially his parents and grandparents for introducing him to sports. He also wants to thank all of his coaches.
Let's get another beneficial player here.
Better player in person overall. And a quick thanks to his teammates and friends. Number 56, signing out. That's Kyron Warren.
Mentioned number 56, Kyron Warren.
Next, let's celebrate Dylan and Belmonte. Dylan would like to wish his family, his brothers, and all the
With
team
Dylan
supporting
Del
him
Monte
to
being the
play
next
football.
player being
Once
shown
again,
some love and
Dan
respect here from the
Belmonte.
fans of Santa Clara Bruins.
Wanting to see love for all the players here tonight, all the seniors especially.
No, there's one new guy. Just the lines are different now. This is good. He's never here.
Let's give all of the football seniors a hand, everyone.
And that's going to round out this football seniors here for senior day.
Of course, got to give all the love to the seniors, and we'll see them play their last home game tonight.
Yeah, Logan, it's a little bit of a bittersweet event here, but we still have a lot of game to look forward to here.
We have the game in general to look forward to, hopefully start soon.
Yeah, and as we can also see, it looks like El Camino's warming up. How do you think El Camino's chances are today in this game?
I think Santa Clara's got a great chance here tonight. Today. A lot of love here tonight for the band.
many new friends and has made amazing memories throughout her relationships. This is Crystal Aguilar.
Starting off, paying respects to the band here.
Next, let's celebrate Alonzo Bradford.
Alonzo Bradford calling our band out. Let's, as we see on the field in the background, you see El Camino preparing.
And the Low Brats for making practice fun. Once again, this is Alonzo Bradford.
And not just showing love to the seniors of the football team, but also the band, showing Crystal Aguilera and Alonzo Bradford, and this last one here.
I would like to thank her family for supporting her in everything she does, and for her friends for being the biggest motivation. She never thought to be part of such a strong community.
Definitely have to give credit to the band here. They're the ones that pump up the crowd.
So never forget you all guys.
Yeah, and without that energy that the band provides, a lot of the home field advantage is lost, because it's the fans' energy that gets the team going.
Both cheer team and the band are able to pump up the crowd to pump up the players.
So I want to thank the marching band for the memories, especially the woodwinds, for allowing him to be able to guide blue 42. He says thank you to his mom and dad for buying him reeds after he breaks them, and Arlen for setting him on this path. He hopes that he made you proud. Good talk. Out. That's so important. Here's Calvin Wayne. Calvin would like to thank his family for always supporting him and his friends for always making him laugh.
Senior day game going to start soon. First half covering the rest of marching band and the cheerleaders.
Very special to him. Bad talk. Out. That's Calvin Wayne. Now we're celebrating Lana Santana.
And the next person we're celebrating here is Lana Santana.
Thank you to the marching band for being home away from home and for inspiring her to always aim to do better. That's Lana Santana.
And we want to show a lot of love and respect here for all encompassing seniors here, whether it be players, the cheer team, and the band. We want to just give that appreciation out for you guys. We're sad to see you go, but we're glad to see you move on into the next phase of your life.
Obviously, we hope for success for everyone moving on here, every senior. We hope that whether it be playing instruments, cheering for your home team, or playing for your home team, we hope everyone with the success in their futures.
Yeah, and Santa Clara has always produced great people in general, whether it be through athletes or just the character of them, you know?
She's grateful for 3 sessions of color guard, 3 seasons of color guard, and wants to thank her parents and friends for supporting this nerdy activity. To her team, Kimmy and Luke, thank you for challenging her to be and for making her smile. Thank you, Austin, for your love, and Jackson, whom I've always performed for. That's Kennedy Rose Stiver. Now let's recognize Hayden Vincent.
Loud pop for there for Hayden Vincent.
Her family for their constant support. Thank the marching band for making her high school experience memorable. And finally, she would like to thank Johnny for everything he has put into this program. Without him, the program would not be what it is today. Hayden Vincent.
So much love for the band here tonight. They always deserve it. And they're always beneficial to our players and our cheerleaders, of course.
Well, so much love for every senior out here, man. Like, I mean, you know, even for me, a lot of these people I have a personal connection with, and I'm sad to see, you know, I'm sad to see that there's a last year here.
Of course, it's sad to see them go, and then consider that we'll be seniors next year.
Marching band endeavor. The bonds situated.
And as you can see, it looks like Santa Clara's football team is starting to get ready to warm up as well.
Of course, students still walking here, but gonna get ready to start a game pretty soon.
And speaking of the start of the game here, you know, what do you think of Santa Clara's star players here. We like to mention them a lot, but let's give it a once over here.
Of course, phenomenal players such as Jeremiah Carango and Matthew J. Nguyen. Also like to outline some of our great defensive players like Mitchell Pacheco, Gabe Chavez. Some players we're hoping to see more from include Jacob Jensen, who's already done great his first 2 games. Let's hope he keeps it going.
Yeah, and one thing I'd also like to point out is the well-rounded game of Pacheco here. As I mentioned before, he has a lot of both defensive plays, whether it be through interceptions or sacks. He also leading tackles per game. He has a decent amount of receiving yards per game as well.
And Logan says, big thank you to my family who supported me throughout everything. Thank you to my teammates for always pushing me to be my best. And thank you to the Spirit Squad for giving me.
And it would also be almost poetic to see if these seniors here can get us a couple of touchdowns. Do you think any of the seniors, any senior in particular, is going to get us a couple of good touchdowns here?
Like always, we must have faith in Jeremiah Carango. It's already 7 touchdowns in the year. Let's hope for at least 1 more.
And Jeremiah Carango is also averaging 76.5 yards per game. The second most receiving yards per game after him is followed by Mitchell Pacheco with 36.7 yards per game.
Of course, it's great to see a phenomenal wide receiver and a tight end putting in the work. It's always best when there's more than just 2 wide receivers. There's always that tight end position that never gets enough credit.
And speaking of not getting credit here, we also wanted to mention Matthew J. Nguyen, who has an insane amount of 111.7 yards per game, rushing yards per game, which is absolutely insane from a running back, don't you think, Logan?
Over 100 yards per game as a running back is always phenomenal to see. It's not the most common thing either, of course.
And Nguyen has also been really great, scoring a total of 4 touchdowns for himself. With all players that are leading in touchdowns for Santa Clara, we have Matthew J. Nguyen at 3rd, Joseph Manueli at tied for second, I guess. Apologies. Matthew J. Nguyen and Manueli both have 4 touchdowns in total. And the
like
first,
I mentioned, Carango at 7.
Yeah, Carango in first.
Of course, giving the love to our Spirit Squad here currently.
Sadie Rose Rios.
Just announced Sadie Rose Rios.
Sadie Ray Rios.
Sadie Ray Rios. Apologies.
She would like to thank her parents and her baby sister, Andy, for being a part of these 4 years. Leading the friends she has made on this team is hard, but she thanks God for every single moment she's had with them. Thank you, Spirit Squad, for these 4 years, and I'll miss it. Sadie Ray Rios.
And I'd like to also point out here again, this is SCHS The Roar, the Broadcasting Club. I'm Jaret Gutierrez, and this is
Logan Van Pelt.
We'd also like to thank the other camera crew here, the supporting cast that we have. We appreciate you guys working with us.
I always appreciate all the work that our broadcasting has done, especially for this school. I'd like to give credit to our great cameramen.
Who always had faith in her. That's Alexa Robles. And one more time, as we round up the ceremony, let's give a hand to all seniors that were honored today. A little bit more.
Getting a really close start of this game here. These players must be hyped.
And talking about the game once again, we'd like to compare the records of both teams. Santa Clara is 2-6 in total, 1-3 in the league, and El Camino is 0-8 overall and 0-4 in the league. It's a little obvious to see who the favorites are here, but earlier today, JV just got their first win against us, so we're hoping that Santa Clara will not let them repeat this success.
Yeah, their JV became 1-7-1 today against our Santa Clara Junior Varsity. We're hoping that our varsity offense and defense can get the win here tonight.
Yeah, and the home field advantage, although this is the last time they're going to get it, they better use it to their advantage, ironically enough, I'm saying it again. But this is important that they get this win of the game. This could allow them to progress further up on the records as they are 5th in the league. One away from the bottom, which is El Camino.
I'm off in 20 minutes.
Yeah, they need to win this game to prevent themselves from being 6th in the league. And if they lose this, then one more loss to Wilcox and they'll be 6th in the league. So of course they need to get this win.
Johnny says he'll give me a thumbs up.
Getting hyped up here. Both teams getting ready on the field. We don't talk as much because it's senior night,
How many of my fries did you guys eat?
All right, and this is going to be the end of the Senior Day broadcast. We're going to go off into the football game next. Tune in that one right now. Apologies, later in the day.
Just a few minutes, of course.